Today we're doing, why not? Let me do a video first. Then after this, I do tipper thoughts. It's a nice one. All right. Oof. Uh, Okay. The scope of discovery. In depth, which is external. Exploratory, which is external as well. But I feel this goes both ways. And perspective, which is internal. So on a break, I discover how I see things, which is perspective. When I'm researching, I explore things, basically, which is exploration. And when working, I add that depth. So, oh, this is an interesting one. All right. So this is me analyzing or assessing something logically. The scope of discovery. In depth is an external. Why? Because I'm kind of like, and I explain it here. It's like when researching, I explore things. No, when I'm working, I'm exploring things. So maybe exploratory is external because I'm researching, right? I'm bringing something from the outside. And the in-depth is external and internal because ultimately I am applying practice to whatever it is I'm doing. So I'm involving myself and I'm involving what I'm reaching. And I specify here on a break because I think at this point in time I was kind of like debating productivity and how basically how we can be productive, ultimately how we are able to how things develop. Because there's a fun thing that I realized recently is like I kind of don't remember the things I knew back then. And whatever I know now seems like it's always been there, right? Like there's a funky feeling for growth. There's a funky feeling that comes with growth. Because ultimately you're kind of like looking at growth as a reflection of where you are right now in comparison to your past self. And when we're reflecting on the past, what we're reflecting is how we used to see the world or how the world treated us. Yeah, I don't think we're reflecting on how we used to see the world anytime we're thinking about the past. I think genuinely because normally it's those feelings and emotions that get triggered, right? Because when you're thinking of something or remembering last year, you're remembering highlights where there was like a maybe you'd remember a moment that you basically were intentional about. For example, there's a moment that's etched in my fucking mind, and that's me leaving the house literally and looking at the basketball hoop that was basically built literally in the we had a small yard that's paved and had tiles and everything in front of the house. And there was a small basketball basically hoop. And I used to play with it. And I remember one day, maybe 11 or 12. I remember 11 or 12 or 12 or 13, like within that. And I was like, huh. I was looking at that loop. I was like, sometime next year, I would be 1 year older. And like, I was there in order to save that memory. It is ridiculous because I remember saying that a year ago as well because I was literally looking and I was just debating death and all kinds of things that kind of come with it. And I'm not debating it, more like I'm having those like feelings and anxiety and the concept of time and understanding basically, like because like we're flowing, every day is flowing, and there are times where it's not scary, but more like you look at your days and you go like, what am I doing? And there are days when you go like, oh, man, Yuki, this is amazing because like I'm doing a lot. But either way, the day's gonna pass. And I remember about 7 years ago where I was like, right now I'm about 33 years old, and if 5 years pass, I'll be 5 years older. I remember saying that, which means regardless, when the 5 years pass, I'll be 5 years older. So like, what about how these 5 years are passing is all up to me. But the 5 years older thing is not up to me. So anytime we're reflecting, we're thinking back, it seems to always be attached to the position we were in. And it's a personalized image, I guess, that the world makes us see of ourselves. Sure, let's go with that. And so the reason I'm saying it this way is because your concept of growth, and here I like write it down. It's like the three dimensions, 3D here, see, 3D at the top. The scope of discovery, because there's the external and the internal. The external is exploration. Remember, discovery. And if you discover something in the outside world, something in you is coming out. So the scope of discovery is that kind of relationship, because it's the scope of discovery. It's not that discovery, right? So again, like I'm explaining it as I see it right now. I wrote this a while back. There's your perspective on things, which is internal. There's the exploratory part of it, which is basically the external. And then there's the in-depth. There's a part that's in-depth because that's the part that kind of like is external and internal. And it's not the relationship. It's that the way I see it, because like ultimately if you're researching something, and I try to explain it to myself here, right? If I'm researching something, I'm exploring it. So I'm looking at it, right? When I am taking a break, when I am reflecting on it, where I am thinking about it, considering it, what I'm doing is it's internal. So I'm shifting my perspective, right? I'm discovering how I see things. That's the discovery that's internal. When I'm researching, I'm discovering externally. When I'm thinking, when I'm processing, I'm discovering internally. And when I'm working, because like one is looking at the outside and one is looking at the inside. And then when I'm working, because like you're taking that research and you're taking your thoughts and you're kind of making something out of them, you're expressing yourself out of them. That when that is happening, that's basically like internal and external at the same time. And it's not like both of them are happening. It's like they're happening behind each other. There's basically like there's a movement and direct feedback. And that feedback basically changes how you move. And then you move again. I'm thinking right now like woodwork, because it's the simplest and like, if you make a mistake, you see it. And ultimately it's how you're moving and how you're flowing. That's basically where your thoughts kind of like build on top of each other. And you're gonna have to be focused. I guess like focused. When you're working, the depth happens as you dive into the flow, which basically extracts focus out of you. And so you're in that weird position where you're kind of like between yourself and the thing that you're doing. And both of them are happening at the same time. So ultimately, you're no longer there and it's no longer there. You both become one. So that's the three-dimensional scope of discovery, I guess. And weirdly so, have I actually considered made a video out of this before? Because it seems like this is not the last page. But anyways, so super fucking intense. This seems to be so, something just happened right now. After this page, there are a lot of pages that have been scratched, which means I have done a few videos after this. What I'm trying to search for right now is if I've actually like made this video before, because I have. and I have completely forgotten it. But I'm doing it again. Now, under these circumstances, what I do is I kind of take this as a sign, and I am definitely gonna consider this a video. I'm gonna watch it again because ultimately having this conversation feels so new to me, which probably means it's different than the conversation I had before. And for that, I think extracted into the flow. Ooh, super interesting, my guys. This is super interesting. I don't know. I don't know what to think. I am going to. I don't know. I think this is a video as well. Why the fuck not, man? This is interesting. I'm gonna rewatch that video right now. That literally happened a couple of weeks ago. And see you in the next one. Bye, my baby.